Cyprian, where does then this take the question on the potential for resource mobilization, which according to that still report on reforming higher education in the country, that policy report, that in developing countries, Kenyan universities could actively seek additional resources through donations, contract research, consultancies, continuing education, and other fundraising activities, as some of them have already done since the government started reducing university budgets in the mid-1990s. And this is a signal that was sent out even before the current administration, which now dates back to the early 1990s. And the universities have been unable to read the signs of the forthcoming financial crisis to focus on some of the itemized issues that I've mentioned from that report. Isn't it also a failure on the management part of the universities?
Yes, somehow it is on the management, but again, you know, public universities, it becomes difficult really to separate the management from the role the government plays. For example, you find here is a vice-chancellor or a council that has a university whose total budget is maybe 1.5 billion, but the government is only providing 700 million. Mm-hmm. Then it leaves the university to search for 800 million. And we have always made them to be aware that a university cannot raise such an amount of money because the core business is not purchases and sales. And just because of that, you find that universities are put in a position, or even management, in a position that they cannot be able to manage the university because lack of funds. So what do? They result into paying you salaries, less pay. They pay you salaries, they don't take your loans to the bank because that's what they can do to manage the gap that the government has left. Otherwise, if the government takes up their responsibility, I want to say that most of these things will just come automatically from the university. They say that in the 60s, Kenya was at par with South Korea. Mm-hmm. Today, you cannot compare the two because their GDP is more than 30 times what we have in Kenya. But in the 60s, we were at the same place. Why? What did they do that we are not doing? The lack of seriousness on higher education. If the government focuses on higher education, they provide them with the requirements so that they can be able now to self-run on their own. We will be able to be out of this box. So what we require from the government is serious commitments so that now we who are staffs or dons at the universities, I can engage in my research to bring more funds to the university when I know first I'm comfortable. I can for sure tell you, because I come from universities, most lecturers, including professors, my friend has said here, yeah, their focus is now not on really what is happening in the university. Because, you know, we are living with others. We have other civil servants, we have other workers of the government of Kenya, whom I can tell you are doing much, much more better than what lecturers are at the university. Yet, when it comes to how far we have gone to school and all that, you find, yes, people respect you a lot. But in terms of how much our pays are, you find that they are too low. So what happens is, as a lecturer, I'm tempted, yes, I'm at the university, but my mind is, I want to think how to run a business so that I can generate more funds. So will I have time to go to do research? Definitely not. But if the government pays us adequately the way we ought to be, then I'll have all my focus on the university. I remain at the university. I'll carry out my research at the university most of my time. But right now, we go out here. One CS said the other day that Kenyans, is a high time you people, you engage in business to generate more funds. You know now what they are telling us is, you are a lecturer and you want to remain at the university to do research, which, as I said, will bring funds after 3, 4, 5 years, and the funds which may not be enough to run yourself. So what we are saying is, let first things be done. Look at the remuneration of academic staff, for example. Let them be paid. I can tell you, a professor can do any job in this country. A professor can become a chief justice. A professor can become a central bank governor. A professor can become a CS, just based on qualification. But now let us look how much they are paid. You find the money that they are paid sometimes are almost at par with what our students who just graduate from university get. So you find that now this professor, even if you want to tell him to engage much on research, the basics, he does not meet the basic needs of his life and family. So if that is sorted and we are adequately remunerated, I can tell you, we will be able to go and engage much more on research to generate more funds for the university, and that way the university will be out of the hole they are in terms of financials. So if that is done, to me, that is the comparison which we don't always bring on the table. And that's why I've challenged you. Go and check how much salaries are professors paid in those institutions that World Bank is talking about. Even if you convert them to Kenya shillings, you'll find that it's about 2 million shillings. And in Kenya, we are
and how much are you paid here?
Here, people are paid around 100,000. So how can you...
No categorization in terms of the different courses that they teach or lecture?
No, there's no categorization.
So that's uniform, it's consistent?
Yeah, it is uniform.
It's a common denominator?
Yes, it's a common denominator.
100,000
It only changes on the ranks. So when you look at such fund, I can tell you, and these are facts we are saying here, we have students who graduate from university, and they are employed by the same government, and their starting salary is the same as that of a lecturer who just taught him in class. We have even students who say that I don't want even to be a lecturer at the university if this is what they are paid. We have students who drive good cars than lecturers at the university, and they are graduated the other day. And they're not working in private sector, they are working in the government sector. For example, a student graduates and is employed in KenGen. He will get a salary more than a lecturer who is teaching electronics in Jomo Kenyatta University.
Well, then driving...
So if we don't look at those things, how do you tell this lecturer that now we want you to conduct research at JKUAT, whereas he's seeing the students are doing much fine than him, and yet they are employed by the same government?
Okay.